U.S. President Donald Trump has sent a stark warning to Iran, saying Washington will, quote, completely decimate all areas of the country if Tehran was to attempt to assassinate him. Trump's threat came after many mourners of Iran's late supreme leader Ali Khamenei called for Trump's killing as they eulogized the former Ayatollah. They also held posters showing Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in the scope of a rifle, with their assassinations being retribution for the killing of their leader. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said thousands of missiles are locked and loaded should Tehran make such an attempt, adding that he had instructed the armed forces to carry out attacks for a one-year period, subject to extension. The warning comes a day after the U.S. president claimed that he had agreed to continue talks with the Islamic Republic, but reiterated that the ceasefire outlined in the framework deal signed last month was over. Tehran denied requesting more talks with the U.S. and expressed their readiness to continue fighting. Hostilities renewed the last 3 days, with the U.S. directly striking Iran over what it called unjustified aggression against commercial shipping, and Iran has been responding with strikes of its own against U.S. bases in the Gulf.
Moldovan President Maya Sandu has nominated prominent businessman Vasil Tofan as the country's next prime minister. If he receives the necessary backing by parliament, which is controlled by Sandu's Party of Action and Solidarity, he will be tasked with moving Moldova closer to its goal of EU membership. His nomination comes after former Prime Minister Alexandru Munteanu resigned on July 3rd after just 8 months on the job, citing differences with the ruling majority. In a public address, Sandu emphasized that Tofan's primary responsibilities will center on driving economic growth, reviving the domestic economy, and strengthening the overall institutional resilience of state security. To successfully secure the position, Tofan, a 44-year-old Harvard Business School graduate, will have to secure parliamentary backing within 2 weeks. He has no prior government experience and previously served as a managing partner at private equity firm Horizon Capital. The development comes soon after the EU opened the first clusters of accession negotiations for Moldova and Ukraine. Another summer heat wave has gripped the French capital of Paris, forcing the closure of the city's landmarks, including the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre Museum. Faced by the country's third heat wave since May, both announced they would be closing at 4 p.m. over the weekend to protect staff and visitors from the scorching temperatures, while the Musée d'Orsay will similarly close from 5 p.m. through to Wednesday. 24 departments across northwestern France are under a red heat alert on Saturday, according to Météo France, affecting more than 22 million people, with certain areas forecast to see temperatures as high as 39 degrees Celsius. To mitigate the risk to people's health, Paris Mayor Emmanuel Gregoire convened a crisis meeting to deploy emergency cooling measures, extend swimming pool hours, and establish dedicated hydration centers ahead of the upcoming Bastille Day holiday. The closures come amid yet another heat wave in Western Europe. In Spain, authorities suspect a wildfire which killed 12 people began when a power line broke due to the conditions caused by the country experiencing temperatures above 40 degrees Celsius. Tech giant Apple has filed a federal lawsuit against OpenAI, accusing the artificial intelligence firm of orchestrating a coordinated campaign to steal its trade secrets as it attempts to build its own consumer hardware. According to the complaint filed in California, Apple uncovered a systematic pattern of intellectual property theft by former high-level employees who later joined the Sam Altman-led firm. One former senior electrical engineer is accused of exploiting an authentication bug to secretly download dozens of confidential hardware files, including technical specifications for unreleased products and engineering presentations. The lawsuit also accuses OpenAI's chief hardware officer, Tang Yu Tan, of illegally harvesting supplier data and instructing Apple candidates to bring actual Apple parts to interviews for show and tell sessions. In response to these allegations, a spokesperson said OpenAI has no interest in other companies' trade secrets, maintaining that it remains focused on building its own innovative technology. OpenAI is currently moving forward with its emerging hardware business, teasing the release of a small programmable keyboard called Codex Micro.